Now, there's quite a few weird and screwed up SpongeBob SquarePants theories on the internet. And as purveyors of ruining childhoods, we at Channel Frederator have done quite a few videos covering those theories. Today, we're gonna dive deep into Bikini Bottom to get to the bottom of one of the most questionable relationships known to man and crustaceans. What's up with Mr. Krabs and Pearl? Like, seriously, how did that whole thing happen? Him being her father. Logical, rational beings would assume she's adopted and call it a day. I'm not logical or rational though, so yeah. But there's been a rather odd theory circulating on the internet for a couple of years that claims Mr. Krabs just might be Pearl's sucrose-filled patriarch. You know, there's really no good way to sugarcoat it. He's been referred to as her sugar daddy. Sweet, see what I did there? There's a sugar reference. I'm Akeem with Channel Frederator, and on today's exciting episode of Cartoon Conspiracy, we're gonna delve deep into the Reddit theory that asks the question, is Mr. Krabs Pearl's daddy or her sugar daddy? Let's do it. Approximately 2 years ago, Reddit user by the name of Itman290 took to the website and asked the question, what if Pearl isn't Mr. Krabs' actual daughter, but in fact her sugar daddy? Now I know what you're all thinking, ew, gross, who would go there? Well, it's a kid's show. Well, yes, but let's just play devil's advocate for a second here, okay guys? Though it may sound like a crude scenario, Nickelodeon shows like SpongeBob aren't exactly above making crude references. And they wouldn't overtly have such displayed on a show whose primary audience is children. Now, before I blow this entire theory out of the water with a cannonball, let's first explore the definition of a sugar daddy to see if Mr. Krabs even fits the bill for being called such. Now, a sugar daddy is a rich older man who lavishes gifts on a young woman in return for her company. Yeah, that does kind of sound like Mr. Krabs. I mean, with the amount of penny pinching he's done over the years, he's amassed quite an amount of wealth and riches to spend them on creatures of the night. Sea creatures of the night. Granted, we don't know the age of consent in Bikini Bottom, but Mr. Krabs he's an old crusty crustacean. Mr. Krabs also refers to Pearl numerous times as his daughter.
You men know me, daughter Pearl. She's growing up fast. It seems like it was just yesterday I was teaching her how to preach. Me mammalian angel.
And there's even baby photos of Pearl being taken care of by Mr. Krabs. So, you know what? This theory pretty much just imploded and collapsed on its already shaky foundations. The real question we need to grapple with is Mr. Krabs her actual daddy? You know, the biological kind. Not the sugary kind, we've just proven that to be sour fiction. Now, since we've never seen Mr. Krabs' wife and he's a different creature from Pearl, it's been widely assumed that she may in fact be adopted. But there has been one episode to note that might suggest that whales have been in the Krabs family lineage for years. In the episode Dunces and Dragons, SpongeBob and Patrick are transported back to medieval times where they run into presumably ancestors of their Bikini Bottom friends. Now it's here we see King Krabs and Princess Pearl, possibly descendants of the Krabs family. Now, I personally would have just noted this as just being a delusional dream of SpongeBob and Patrick, given the fact that medieval Sandy was breathing underwater without a helmet of some sort. That's not possible, she's a squirrel. But then the episode ends with Patrick impaling one of Squidward's ancestors in the present day. So maybe this wasn't a dream and the actual history of how the Krabs family discovered the Krabby Patties to build their future empire. As if it wasn't enough for King Krabs to be the ruler of that particular time period, he opted to sell flippin' burgers to his subjects. Well, it goes to show the Krabs family has a long history of penny pinching. just pinching the pennies. So if we're to take note of this and consider this canonical, that means that the Krabs family does in fact have others within the family tree that are in fact whales. It wouldn't be out of the ordinary in an animated television show to see cross-creature breeding. Adventure Time's Jake the Dog impregnated Lady Rainicorn, giving birth to 5 kids that have an appearance that either strongly resembles the dad or their mom. We've also seen it in the television show Regular Show in the epilogue portion of the series finale. Though genes are more so based on the dominant traits found in the parents, it's safe to say Pearl's mom's genes were far more dominant than Mr. Krabs. Like Mr. Krabs has stated in the past, she takes after her mother. The theory that Mr. Krabs is in reality Pearl's sugar daddy is, well, it's ridiculous. It's one of those theories that would have you look solely at the interactions between Pearl and Mr. Krabs and ignore everything else outside of it. I mean, like, what about the baby pictures? What about the significant age difference? What about the fact that, well, that would be way too sick and disturbing for a kid's show? Come on! Ugh. It's much more likely that Mr. Krabs is less of a sugar daddy to Pearl and more of a real daddy. Taking a look at the Dunces and Dragons episode, though it only gives us a minor glimpse into the history of Mr. Krabs' family, it's enough to say that he may in fact have some whales in his family tree. Underwater tree. Yeah. Those exist. Now, of course, if we were to see one of Pearl's relatives show up in the show and they're not a crab, well, that'd be the discernible proof we need to finally put this question to rest. But since we haven't just yet, it's safe to assume that Pearl might have been adopted at an early age and raised by Mr. Krabs. So how do I rate this one? Well, based on the Reddit theory of Mr. Krabs being Pearl's sugar daddy, well, I'm gonna have to give it 0 secret ingredients out of 5. Mostly because we don't know what the hell that secret ingredients is. I don't know. Do you know? But mostly because it's a wild theory full of more holes than SpongeBob's porous, jaundiced body. And trust me, he's got a lot of holes to fill with secrets and lies. If we're taking a look at Mr. Krabs being her biological dad, well, I'd have to give that 5 Krabby Patties out of 5. I mean, based on the simplistic nature of the show, it seems far more likely the showrunners would go with a much more straightforward detailing of Mr. Krabs and Pearl's relationship. Her mama was a whale, and her daddy is a crab. Believe it? Call it cartoon logic, whatevers. Other shows have done the whole cross-species mating ritual to varying degrees of success. I mean, just look at Shrek's donkey and dragon. Now, let me tell you right now, man, that relationship is just as weird and complicated as a tiny crustacean doing the horizontal limbo with a whale. Trust me, man, it's crazy. Now let's go get some waffles. It's my donkey impression, man. It's crazy, man. I can't believe you did that, man. Crazy. So what do you guys think about this theory? More importantly, what do you think happened to Pearl's mom? Where is she? Sweet mother of Pearl, I hope they find her one day. Hope she didn't end up in like a Moby Dick situation where she I don't know. What happened in Moby Dick? I never read that book. Sound off in the comments below and let us know what other theories you'd love for us to explore in future episodes of Cartoon Conspiracy. Subscribe if you haven't already and ring that bell to join our notification squad. Once more, I'm Akeem with Channel Frederator. Thank you guys for watching and always remember, never forget, Frederator loves you.